What is trending today? Now, 8 million metric tons of plastic wind up each year in the world's oceans, harming marine life and entering the food chain. VOA's Michael Sullivan reports a new documentary film called A Plastic Ocean looks at the problem and its solutions.
Plastic sludge and garbage, a blight on the world's oceans. A film crew traveled the globe to document the rubbish. And Julie Anderson of the Plastic Oceans Foundation says what we see is just the tip of the problem.
Half of the waste actually sinks to the bottom, the plastic sinks to the bottom, and that remains on the surface actually breaks down.
The filmmakers found trash in ocean gyres, the circulating currents that trap large concentrations of pollution in the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans, home of what some have called a plastic island.
So what we found in the center of the Pacific was not a floating island of plastic. What we found was a plastic smog that permeated all the water. And in some parts of the oceans, scientists have found more plastic than plankton.
The debris infects the food chain, sometimes visibly, and more so at the microscopic level, where the plastic particles interact with other pollutants.
Heavy metals, pharmaceuticals, industrial runoff. It acts like magnets. These toxins hitchhike on the plastic. And then when seafood ingests the plastics, those toxins offload into the fatty tissues
to be consumed by other sea life and by people. China, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam are the worst plastic polluters. The United States, although a leader in recycling, is one of the worst 20 since it produces and consumes so much plastic. There are efforts around the world to address the problem, including at this newly opened recycling center in Lebanon. But Anderson says there is more that people can do.
Cut back on single-use plastics, straws, plastic cups, plastic water bottles, plastic bags, and finding alternatives like reusable materials.
She says healthy oceans are essential to our survival. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News, Los Angeles.
Well, and that's our show for today. Now be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings today, Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night. More than 25 years after civil war ended in Somaliland, mass graves are still being unearthed as investigators gather evidence of war crimes.
For the first time in more than a year, inflation drops in Nigeria as it goes under 18%.
You know Nollywood, but is Leewood? A group of young Somalis making movies in Nairobi's Little Mogadishu. Africa 54 starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Chamberlain, also at Channels Television here in Lagos. Welcome to our show. We'll bring you stories from across the continent, and I'm joined by my colleague Vincent Makori at the Voice of America.
Well, thanks a lot, Uso. I'm here in Studio 51 at VOA Global Headquarters in the U.S. Capitol. Now, stay with us in the next half hour. For our first story, we go to Kano State and look at a local craft. Chamberlain has the details.
That's right. Nigeria's northern commercial city of Kano has been a trade hub for grains and textiles since the colonial era. And today, the resilient shoemaking business in Kofai Wambai Market employs more than 10,000 people working at various stages of the manufacturing process. Channels Television's correspondent Idris Jibrin got a first-hand look at the business in action.
Inside Kofar Wambai Market, the largest local shoemaking market in northern Nigeria, sheets of leather lie in plain sight, waiting to be processed into footwear of various sizes and designs. The art of shoemaking is an ancient trade in Kano dating as far back as the 11th century. Every day, over 10,000 youth and women spend time on various stages of shoemaking, including cutting the leather, applying gum to leather materials, and shaping the different animal skin. Sani Sidi is one of the shoemakers here. He attests to the benefits of his 35 years' experience in the business.
This trade is everything to me. I am married, I have children, and I own a house in Kano, courtesy of the local shoemaking trade.
The shoemakers say over the years, sales have been good, but insufficient supply of some raw materials is affecting their production capacity.
I produce bags, but my problem is capital. We need government to assist us with capital so that we can improve.
You can see that people buy our products. All we need is state-of-the-art equipment so that we can compete favorably with other countries.
However, as part of an empowerment program, the state government explains that it has set up a common facility center in Sharada Industrial Estate for medium and small-scale local leather manufacturing with the state-of-the-art equipment.
The shoes we make here are even better than the imported ones, which are sometimes expired by the time they arrive, such that they need repairs.
In addition to this effort, the beneficiaries of the program insist on an outright ban on imported footwear. This, according to them, will guarantee higher patronage.
From the day this center was established, we have trained over 1,000 people.
The Kano state government is also embarking on development programs to boost other Asian trades, which the state is known for, such as textile and the groundnut pyramids. By so doing, this will create more jobs and sustain the state's economic significance to the nation.
Now for another story of equal importance for Nigerian businesses. The drop in Nigeria's headline inflation for the first time in 15 months is going under 18% now, according to the government. And joining us now for more by phone from Lagos is Reginald Odia, Chairman, Economic Policy Committee of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
The inflation rate is expected to decline even further by about 16.6% this month. What impact do you think we can expect on the economy?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the question. And I must say that it is a very good news to know that inflation is declining. For me, inflation is not something that started yesterday. It builds up over time. And I don't expect, as a Nigerian and someone that has been in business for so long, for this thing to all of a sudden drop. Something must be given in, and we need to know those things that are given in that have created this level of drop in inflation. Otherwise, if it works well the way they are predicting, it's going to make a lot of difference in the system. It means that purchasing power of people can improve, and it also means that there will be more money in the pockets of the average Nigerian without having to lay out so much money. And that's the sort of thing we're looking forward to. But for now, I need facts and figures to justify this statement that we are reading about.
Now, for the average Nigerian, rising food prices will always be a concern. How soon do you think this can reflect on food prices?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's a very good news when we hear that it's declining. But I think it will be wrong for us to begin to hazard very high guesses as to the level of drop, because we are not feeling the impact yet. We want to begin to feel the impact so that when you are now giving us analysis and figures, it becomes easy for us to understand. I, as a manufacturer, am involved in purchases of raw materials and so on. Many of our raw materials, when we place orders for them, it takes about 3 months to arrive from the time the order is placed and when you bring them into your system and produce. So if you give me a drop in inflation in a month and say another month is dropping, how does it impact on my material that I paid for at so much 3 months ago and it arrives and I'm using it? What price am I going to sell it? to achieve this drop in inflation.
Do you think that there are any fiscal policies that we can bring to bear to further improve this situation?
Yes, the policies that government has put in place, especially the recovery policy, the economic recovery and growth, which was recently launched, is a fantastic policy that, if followed to the latter, will get us out of the doldrum and move us up. But it just come out. It's about a month or so. In fact, I think it's less than even a month that that policy came out. And we are yet to begin to implement it. But we need to follow it, and we need to give it time to mature and grow.
Reginald Odia with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, thank you for joining us on Africa 54 today.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, more than 25 years after civil war ended in Somaliland, researchers continue to unearth mass graves. Forensic investigators hope to gather enough evidence to bring the alleged perpetrators of war crimes to justice. So far, 2 cases have gone to U.S. courts. Jason Patinkin reports for VOA from the Somaliland town of Berbera.
Investigators say 17 men were shot and buried in this mass grave in the town of Berbera nearly 30 years ago. They were allegedly killed by troops loyal to Somali dictator Siad Barre during a campaign that killed about 50,000 people, mostly from the Isaaq clan. Somali's government battled rebels from Somaliland, which declared independence after the Barre regime collapsed in 1991. Somaliland remains unrecognized internationally. Now, Somaliland's War Crimes Investigations Commission and an international forensics team are opening the old graves to gather evidence.
Every person has the right to be buried in his religious method. So we are just taking out these bodies and we are burying them separately after cleaning and praying on them.
The mass grave in Berbera is the 11th the local War Crimes Commission has opened in the last 5 years. There are many more. The commission says this was a genocide, though that term is disputed. The forensic investigators attempt to identify the remains and establish probable cause of death.
Mostly of the case is gunshot wound in the head or in the thoracic area.
But the exhumations are divisive. The commission did not consult victims' relatives about the process first, so families tried to block the opening of this grave. Khadra Mohammed Abdi said she wants her father's killer found and jailed, but she was against removing the body.
It's also painful. You know, someone you forgot 25 years ago, and then when we see the process, it's like it's new to us.
Commissioner Like dismissed the family's concerns. He said proving the atrocities took place is of national importance.
Actually, for them it's nothing, but it is for us to prove that this genocide has occurred by the regime of Siad Barre.
Digging up the past brings no easy answers. Jason Patinkin for VOA News, Berbera.
Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 on the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, the dangerous job of mining rare earth in the DRC. But there is an initiative to improve mining safety after the break.